Thanks for inviting us, Jeff. Appreciate it. And this is a fantastic turnout. I know that Maya and Karen and I have talked for a couple of years now about having meetings like this with groups of people, and then having you all kind of spread the word and keep that going up and down the pipeline, not just here in Lambertville, but all along this PennEast Pipeline. Speaking of pipelines, this photograph is a 42-inch transmission gas pipeline. If you notice, someone's walked through and kind of scurried their hands along the side of the wall of the 42-inch pipeline. Now, I know this is a 30-inch pipeline. That's what they're saying now, and that's what they're proposing now. But the state of the art now and in the future is going to be 42-inch pipelines. It's a big deal. So the Pipeline Safety Coalition formed as a result of a pipeline project in Chester County, Pennsylvania. My land was a part of that land. I used to farm. And I always like to tell people that my real first experience with a pipeline was when a smart pig ran under my feet under the farm. A smart pig is a device that runs through a pipeline to determine whether or not there's corrosion and whether or not that pipeline needs to be repaired. I didn't know about a smart pig. I was a farmer. I didn't know about smart pigs. And I certainly didn't know about smart pigs in pipeline issues. This 42-inch pipe went through this development, and you can't really tell from the photograph here, but the pipeline is about 20 feet from people's foundations of their homes. That's not unusual with pipelines, so you're all very smart to get in on this very early in the game, and we hope to help you with that as well. Pipeline Safety Coalition is a nonprofit, a Pennsylvania nonprofit. We obtained 501c3 status in May of 2014, mostly so that we could encourage people to generously donate to your local 501c3 because it is tax deductible, and it helps us to help you. This is another photograph of a construction site. I just want to give you a flavor of what you're looking at when you're talking it, because a pipeline is very euphoric. This is a 42-inch pipeline. That's the field I used to farm. We'll never farm again. And that's a 42-inch pipeline on a 33% slope. And just, take in the size of the pipeline in relationship to the people and to the cat over there. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Again, you're talking about a 30-inch, but it's proportionate. This is with the proposed pipe for PennEast. And what I did here was I took Alexandria Township, Delaware Township, and Hopewell Township because they're the only the three that I could correlate to the following map. You can give it this is a PHMSA map. It's a map that shows you what pipelines are currently in your county. If you notice, there are not a lot of pipelines in your county. You've got the blue are gas transmission lines, and the red are hazardous liquids. Alexandria, Delaware, nothing. You have nothing in those areas of your township that gives you the advantage of trying to keep the pipeline out of your area. Typically, if you've got a pipeline in an area, it's easier for the operator to convince FERC to give them permission to put more pipelines in. So what we usually talk about to folks is all of these things, what you need to know and why, but tonight we're just going to focus on landowner rights because that is fairly significant. And I do have up here a few copies of this landowners' rights synopsis.
What's the definition of hazardous liquid?
A hazardous liquid would be something like petroleum.
Gas engine.
Yeah. A thicker
Crude oil.
That's the Buckeye line.
Okay.
Buckeye would be hazardous liquids. So, I was asked to just talk to you about, because you're going to be seeing people, you're going to have people coming to your door asking for a survey and asking for an easement agreement even before the project is approved. Do not sign an easement agreement. Do not sign an easement agreement. They will try to pressure you and tell you that you will be taken to eminent domain. Eminent domain will not take your home from you, will not take your land from you, other than what eminent domain will do is give the operator the right to use the portion of your land that FERC ultimately decides if they decide to let the project go forward. Meet as a community as you are now. Operators will tell you, don't do that. You can't tell her what I told you. Yes, you can, and you should. Negotiate, absolutely negotiate, but not yet. You've got a long way to go before even the thought of easements should come to your mind. I'm going to because I want to keep this really short here, I'm just going to pull out a couple of really important things. When you sign and I'm going to probably head a little bit further than this too. When you sign an easement on your property, it gives the operator a better shot at putting more pipelines on your property, expanding the pipeline on your property. When you get a payment, if you negotiate an easement and you get a payment for that right of way, an ROW is called a right of way. That money is taxable to you. You would receive a 1099. If you have a mortgage on your property, your mortgage holder has every right to take that money and put it against your mortgage. So you may wind up with nothing. This is the kind of thing that happens when people don't work together like you folks do. Again, 20 feet. This is exactly where the pipeline is, next to this garage. Those folks moved out. One of the things that we don't talk a whole lot about, but was brought up to me today, and I wanted to pass this along to, is land valuation. It's a big conversation today, whether or not a pipeline right-of-way devalues your land. And I pulled up just a couple of comments, written statements on the assessment that was made on our property during easement negotiations. And I will tell you on those slides you saw of this 42-inch, we never gave up a right-of-way. We never sold a right-of-way. We did give them the use of workspace, temporary workspace. It reduced the tree cuts from 50 feet to 20 feet. It removed the tree cuts from 300 trees to 7 trees. You can absolutely negotiate. As far as your land, your property value, one of the things that is mentioned on the assessment is that subject property, if you already have a gas pipeline on your property, is encumbered by a gas pipeline easement. Now, Webster will tell you encumbered means hindered, obstructed, impeded, restricted, and disadvantaged. So I'm not sure how it does not devalue your property. It goes on to say that we have estimated that the easement diminishes the value of the underlying land by 50%. But the operator will tell you that although the land below the pipeline and above the pipeline is diminished by 50%, the rest of your property is fine. So there are a lot of considerations that you need to make when it comes to whether or not you want to sign an easement, and we're not here to tell you yes or no. We will always say that there may come a time, whether we like it or not. I lived through this myself. There may come a time where you can't stop the project. But you folks are in, I would say, the infancy stages of being able to decide whether or not you want to stop the project or not, and to go from there. And as I said before, we're happy to have a series of workshops with you. Again, what we usually talk about is what you need to know and why. What are the regulations? What's an interstate? What's an intrastate? What's FERC? What do you need to do in FERC? Those kinds of things. But those are for bigger conversations, and we want to have a lot of time for Q&A. So, Steve, thank you very much. Oh, this is Carolyn Elephant, by the way. I did say earlier, always seek an attorney. Disclaimer, she's on my board. But I think Maya and Karen know Carolyn very well. Carolyn Elephant was represented the folks on, you may have heard of the Commonwealth Pipeline, which we all kind of helped squash. She's fabulous. So if the time comes, highly recommend, and we don't get any kickbacks at all. I promise. Thanks.